Hi, thanks for checking out the new MFL10 league tracking tool at DraftSharks.com. The dashboard has 8 features to help answer nearly every question you might have about your MFL10 portfolio. Filter on the team name, track the number of leagues by entry fee, what everyone has been waiting for, a standings tracker, an individual team tracker, a draft position chart, a player shares table, a roster composition summary, and a round-by-round drafting tendency chart. The default setting is to include all teams in the database, so let's start exploring at that level. We can see that after the first week, the average points for teams in first place is 184.22 points. Top scoring team is Lee S. in League 16379 with 234.7 points. Some familiar names, Megatron FF and Seth FFL, also break the top 10. At this stage, the player shares table is simply an ADP report for the entire drafting season. The average roster composition of all teams is shown, as is the drafting tendencies of all those teams. Now let's do some digging. We can select the teams in first and second place, to see how those teams got there. We can see that the best draft position so far is in the middle of round 1. We can sort the player shares table to see the week 1 performances by Hopkins, Allen, Julio Jones, Eifert, and Carlos Hyde helped boost quite a few teams to the top of the heap. The roster composition and drafting tendencies now reflect those top teams as well. Let's clear out that selection. And now we can select Lee S to see this team was in an MFL10 league, drafted from the 9 slot, started with Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr., DeAndre Hopkins, Carlos Hyde, and Keenan Allen in the top 5 rounds. Has 3 defenses, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, 6 wide receivers, and 7 running backs. So let's clear that out. And see how teams did, or how teams are doing so far this season, picking from the 1-2 turn. Based on the standings so far, it seems to have had a minimal effect. All right, let's clear that out. Let's see how teams are doing who drafted Le'Veon Bell. So we can see that the standings don't reflect well in that decision so far. But that's just after week 1, right? As can be expected with his suspension. But impressively, a few teams actually managed to still break 200 points. Okay, so let's clear that out. And let's go ahead and take a look at my teams. So to select or to put in your team names, select the all selection to clear out the list. Then you can do a search on your team names and select all the team names that you're interested in. All right, so let's check it out. We can see I entered 77 MFL10s and 3 MFL0s. Okay, I have 9 first place finishes, 6 second place finishes, or I'm in 9th place. We can see that I entered 77 MFL10s. We can see that I entered 77 MFL10s and 3 MFL0s. After week 1, I have 9 first place teams, 6 second place teams, 8 third place teams, 12 ninth place teams, and another 8 12th place teams. My top score from week 1 was 186.8. Put me in first place. I have a 18.2 point lead on the second place team and a 23.6 point lead on the third place team. We can come down here and look at my, let's say, 29870 league. I have 169.4 points. We can come down here and look at my 25708 team. See that I have 165.5 points. I'm 17.1 points out of first place and 4.9 points out of second place. Okay, I drafted most frequently from the 2 and 10 slots. My most owned players are the Jags defense, Andre Ellington, Colin Kaepernick, Anquan Bolden, Steve Smith. My average roster composition is 2.9 defenses, 2.1 quarterbacks, 2.8 tight ends, 7.3 wide receivers, and 5 running backs. And we can see that I went running back and tight end heavy in the first round. Drafting Gronk 17 times in the first round, Eddie Lacy 9 times in the first round, Marshawn Lynch 9 times in the first round, and so on. Finally, if I want to check the live scoring, who I'm going against, or the draft board for a particular league, I can do that too. So check back every Tuesday and Thursday evenings for scoring updates. Have fun exploring and hit me up on the article comments or at Mr. P_helps on Twitter to give suggestions on how to improve the tool. Thanks for watching.